This is video 4 of my new channel, Women's Empowerment. If you are not a follower of mine, this video is for women. This video is to help women who have been in toxic relationships with toxic people, and tips and advice on how to move forward so that you avoid these kind of relationships in the future. Alright, if you have been in a relationship long term and you feel like you've been abused, it's not just physical. It's mental, it's emotional. There are many types of abuse. You just have to be able to identify which type of abuse you've been through. Either way, it's abuse. When I was going through my healing process and I started seeking therapy, I had no idea that I was actually in an abusive relationship. Like, it was mind-blowing to me. Abusive relationships come in all forms. As I said in my last video, if you notice the patterns of repetition, if you've tried to cut it off with this person and they promise you things, you know, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna do this and this, etc., etc. How many times have they said that? How many times have you had this conversation with this person? These conversations are pointless without action. That's the #1 thing that you need to know when you're dealing with these types of people. If they say they're gonna change and they don't, and they continue this pattern, like, they're never gonna change. And that is something that you need to accept if you're going to continue on this journey of healing. You have to accept that. You have to hold them to their promises. If you don't, they're just gonna continue to see how much you're gonna put up with. And that's exactly what their agenda is. If you are hell-bent on, like, making this relationship work, you have to hold them accountable for what they say. If they say they're going to change something, make sure that they're going to change that thing before you engage with them again. If not, you have to continue to hold them accountable for this. Otherwise, they're literally just using your words against you, like, I promise I'm going to change, I'm sorry I was selfish, etc., etc. They're going to use your words right back to you. Literally going to gaslight you, pretend to be something that they're not. They will go through your text and actually use the words that you present to them, that you want them to change, and use it back on you as a form of manipulation. Like, it's terrible, but it happens. So if you don't, recognize these changes being made, I would suggest hold them to this, do not let them get away with it. Make sure that the changes that you are wanting in this person are being followed through, because words without action are absolutely nothing. They're nothing. So make sure that when you express what you want out of this relationship, the changes that you want to see being made are actually being made before you take this person back. If not, if you've been through this before time and time again, it's time to let go. Because if they don't change it after you express it, they're not going to change. And that's something that you have to accept going through this journey. Like, I'm not saying it's easy to accept, but it's something that you must accept. Like, it's not a choice. It's something that you have to do. If you have decided to, leave the relationship ultimately, good for you. It's, going through these toxic patterns over and over again, it's literally going to just deplete your self-confidence. It's going to deplete your self-worth. You are ultimately settling. And the next thing I want to talk about is codependence in these types of relationships. Sometimes we have to sit down with ourselves and ask ourselves, are we a toxic person as well? And codependency is very common in relationships. If you do not allow yourself a period of healing before you engage in your next relationship, then you may have toxic traits that are inviting toxic people into your life. You have to go through a healing period. You cannot get over the next person by getting under another person, because then you're just inviting this toxicity back into your life. You have to go through the healing process. You have to accept what happened. You have to work through it. Go through therapy, journal, do whatever you have to do, because if you continue to do that with yourself, then you're just going to continue to go down the same path with the same kind of people. You know, as humans, I understand it's lonely going through the healing process. It can be, you know, it could be feelings of hopelessness, especially at night when you're laying in bed by yourself, like there's no one laying next to you. Like losing a person, losing a relationship, it's very similar to grieving a death, essentially. I'm not comparing it, but I'm also just saying, like, a loss is a loss. So if you're losing someone, like, just know that you're gonna have to go through the motions. You're gonna have to go through the grief. You're gonna have to go through all those hardships. Like, this is not easy. This is not something that's gonna, you know, happen overnight. It's gonna take time. But you have to be willing to take the time to go through the grief in order to get to be the best version of yourself. But if you cannot be alone in your own company and be happy, you're not going to be able to be happy with anyone else. You cannot use another person to fulfill your happiness. You have to fulfill that before someone else can. You know, you have to go through the changes. You have to, like, sit down with yourself and ask yourself some questions. You know, am I worthy? Yes, you are. Am I going to be okay without this person? Yes, you are. Do I have interests and abilities outside this person? Yes, you do. You just have to be willing to discover that, to go through the journey. And when you do, you're going to feel the rewards. You're going to know that you are worthy. You're not going to settle in the next relationship. You can be alone in your own company. And not only that, but you can be happy with yourself. You can sit with yourself, look at yourself in the mirror and know, like, I am worth it. Like, I have a lot to give. I have a lot of love. I know my worth, and now I'm ready to give it to somebody else, but also know that you have to be able to receive the same in return, because you are worthy of that love, the love you have to give. So once you realize that, once you go through the motions, once you do the work, like, you're gonna set yourself up for somebody that's not toxic, somebody that's willing to give what you put out there as well. Like, it's a mutual thing. You know, you put it out there, they're going to give it right back. And if they don't tolerate that anymore. Once you get yourself out of this, do not tolerate anything less than what you're willing to give to somebody. It's not a competition. It's just about, you know, do unto others as you would do unto you. That's the quote I'm going to use. All right. I love you, ladies. Be well. Do the work. Do your homework. You know, realize that self-worth, because you are worth that. All right, and I will post a video next week. Please comment, please share, please like, subscribe. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, concerns, comments. I am here to listen. Thank you so much, you guys. Love you.